Hi everyone, I'm here. A few 5 minutes late, but to be fair, I did the first 5 minutes on the wrong stream again. So if you've done any trainings with me in the summer, you know I am known for going live in the wrong place, or sometimes not unmuting myself and then just talking to an empty space. But I'm here. I think I'm in the right space now. I hope I'm in the right space now. I have to remember to go back and delete the other video because sure enough, I did it again. It's fine. I'll live. Hopefully I didn't lose too many of you, but in case you are just joining me or are not sure why you're here, my name is Alicia DeSeppola. I am Millville Public School District's Digital Literacy and Learning Specialist, and today I am going to give you an overview of Edpuzzle. I'm really excited. We've been talking about Edpuzzle. I mean, I came here in 2010, and I feel like within the first couple of years, we've been definitely talking about Edpuzzle. But what's really exciting this year is that the supervisor of math and science, Bobby Barber, arranged for Lakeside and the two high schools to have premium accounts. Now, if you're not a teacher at those schools, don't worry. Premium accounts are awesome, but you're just going to have the same features, just with less storage, and you'll still love it. I've been using free for a decade, and it's been great. And I promise it'll still be something that you can use with your students or with your staff. So let's check it out together. I'm just going to share my screen. Please feel free to use the chat. I'm going to come back every now and then and check the chat to make sure you can hear me and see my screen, or if you're yelling out any really important questions, I'll be here to address them as well. So let me go ahead and pull up my Edpuzzle, and like I said, I already had started this presentation, so that's not very helpful for you. I'm going to delete this so I can go to the very beginning. I mentioned that you're going to go to edpuzzle.com and sign on using your Millville Public Schools Gmail account. So your first name dot last name at mps.millville.org. Once you're signed in, you're going to select what school you teach at. It's really important that you answer this honestly, because you'll be able to see the curriculum and the other activities from the school that you work in, which is really helpful for collaboration. I'm going to start with how to set up your classroom, because I'm sure a lot of us are going to be using this with our Google Classrooms. So in the upper right-hand corner, if you click on the words My Classes, this is where we can add a new class. So to see the box here that says add a new class, if I click on that, I can either create a new class, and that would be not connected to Google Classroom, or I can click Google Classroom. So since I signed on with my MPS Google account, it recognizes the classrooms that I am a teacher of. So this is one I'm going to add as an example, and I'm going to click Import Classes. Now, there may be times, like let's say that you're still waiting. It's only the fourth day of school. Maybe you're still waiting on a couple of kids to join your class. You haven't been able to get a hold of them yet. That's okay. You can still start your class, and then under the Students tab, you can just click Import Students as people join, and then it'll be updated constantly. So over here on the left, I can see my classes. I can see there's 3 tabs under each class. So right here is anything that's due. This will be any activity that doesn't have a due date, but that I've created for this class or assigned to this class. And then under my Students tab, I'll be able to see my different students as well. We also have this gradebook feature. You'll be able to use this with Google Classroom. This does not automatically merge with Infinite Campus, so that's something that you'll have to think about your best practices on your own. So let's talk about the most important piece, which is obviously going to be using content to create these interactive activities. So Edpuzzle lets you take videos from different platforms and then break them up with activities and questions, and it helps you personalize the process even. We're going to go through that in a second. Let me check the chat. Okay, looks like we're still good, so let's continue on. And this is, like I said, probably the most important part. So this is the screen you see when you log on. This is content. If you're ever lost, just click the word content or click on the Edpuzzle logo, and it brings you right back to this page. Over here on the left, these popular channels, these are channels that the different videos pull from. So for example, if I click on Khan Academy, these are different videos from Khan Academy. Up here, I can search something on Khan Academy. So let's say I'm searching for long division. This is every video that's tagged with long division. I can search YouTube. A lot of times what I'll do is I use YouTube a lot. Obviously, I love YouTube. I'll go to YouTube separately, and when I find a video, because it's really important that we actually go through all this content, when I find a video that I like, I usually just copy the URL and paste it right here instead of searching right through YouTube like this. So these are different channels we can use. I can also click on the word Edpuzzle, and this gives me access to the activities of others. So for example, let's say we're learning about George Washington Carver. I can see there's an activity here. Anytime you see this little symbol and there's a number next to it, that means it contains 3 elements. So in this case, if I mouse over it, I can see it contains 3 questions or notes. This is an empathy test. It contains 11 questions or notes. So as I search things, let's search long division again just to compare. This is not just searching Khan Academy. This is searching all of the activities that educators have created around the world. So I can see here's a long division video, and it has 7 questions or notes. It's 1 minute and 11 seconds long. Now I can either just use these activities already created, or I can edit them and make them my own. Also over on the left, I'm going to start at the top. If I click the word home, this brings me to exactly when I notated what I teach and where I live. It tells me exactly what's trending in my country, my state, my subject area. Also on the left, I can look up specific curriculum. So I can say I teach middle school, and I teach electives, and I specifically teach computer literacy, Google application, and then I can find actual things that are created specifically for my subject area. Also on the left, I can click on my school. So the school that you said you teach at, I'll be able to find content specifically from my school. So there's nothing under STEM, but if I click subjects, I'm going to click history and social studies. I can see that some people have already been adding things to this. Very cool. I can go to math and I can find even more. A lot of math. Ooh, you guys are using this well. Awesome. So I can search for specific subjects. Maybe maybe my co-teacher had a really great lesson. I can search for it here. I can get creative as well. And then finally, the last option is my content. These are things that I've already created and organized. So you can add folders. These are I know they don't look like it, but they're called folders. I have a G Suite folder and a PD folder. So in case I create anything, I can drop it in there. And then this is anything that's not in a folder. So I had already created this activity about Mae Jemison. Now, I'm going to walk you through a couple different things. The first thing I want to walk you through is how to just create an interactive activity using a video that's on YouTube. But I do want to mention right here, you'll be populating this with a lot of content. So adding folders is really great. There's a couple different ways to do that. I can either click on a video, see this little checkbox, I click on the checkbox, and then choose move to folder, and that will either let me create a new folder or obviously do other things too. Or in the upper right-hand corner, pay close attention here because I can click the Add Content box, and then I can say New Folder, and I can create a brand new folder right from here. Also here, this is where I can start to create my content. Or do you see this option to upload a video? I can upload a video that I've already created. Now, I have to pause here for a second because a lot of us, I know this is only day 4 of the school year, but we've been recording maybe little activities in our Google Meet, our live meetings with our students, or maybe we've just done a lot of things on Screencastify. You can take those videos that are saved in your Google Drive and upload them to Edpuzzle. And let me show you how. So right now I'm in my Meet Recordings folder in my Google Drive, and let's say I want to use this video. So I'm going to download it by clicking on this little arrow. In this video, I don't want to hear myself. I'm going to click this arrow pointing down, and I'm going to download this video. So this is my video right here. In Edpuzzle, I can click Add Content, and I can upload my video. So now look at this. I mean, I could have obviously gone the easy way and clicked Google Drive and found it there too. Of course, I took the hard way. I'm sure you'll do better than me. I'm going to click this one and just drop it here, though. In this video, I don't want to hear that. Okay. In this video, clearly I'm not doing a good job with that. So let me actually go to my Google Drive. Live document camera. See, you guys are seeing me in action. trying to figure out what I am doing. Here we go. So I found my video. Obviously, I didn't do a good job dragging and dropping apparently, but I'm going to select the video from my drive and click select. This is probably easier anyway. So I can see it's uploading right here, and then I'll be able, once it's prepared and uploaded, I'll be able to go through and add my questions and notes and other activities throughout this video. We'll come back to that because I want to show you how to create one that's already done for you. So over on the left, I'm going to come back home, and we walked through all of these different options. So I'm going to click on YouTube because I told you I use a lot of YouTube, and I already found a video that I'm going to use. I proofed this little video. It's about the failed Google X projects, and I'm going to copy the URL by highlighting it. And like I said, you don't have to do it this way. I think it's just quicker to search. So now I pasted my URL there, and it pulled it right up for me. Another thing I want to add, which I'm not sure if you noticed, but you can actually install the Edpuzzle extension, and then it gives you this little button here. So you can simply click on that button and edit things with Edpuzzle. Now I should mention here, you have to be logged, when you're searching YouTube, you've got to be logged on to your Google account that you created your Edpuzzle with, otherwise it doesn't work. So sometimes I get bumped to my personal account and then I'm very confused. That's why. So let's just take this from the very beginning. I brought this video on from YouTube, and let's say that I need to cut it up a little bit because it's a little bit, 5 minutes is just too long for my students to pay attention. So let's say that I decide.
Welcome back, everybody. So I'm sure most of you are familiar in some.
I want to cut the first 8 seconds because maybe he sneezed.
In some way with Google X Labs or more with Google X.
So I'm going to cut it. See, I'm getting rid of that. So you can cut whatever you want and trim your video down to where you like it. You can also undo, or you can reset the entire thing and keep your whole video. That's up to you. I think it's helpful to cut time. I mean, there's so much research that says how long students and even adults can pay attention on the computer. So even though we're breaking it up with these questions and activities, sometimes it's helpful to just kind of streamline this, especially when we use YouTube or even Khan Academy. There's that giant like 20-second introduction typically. So I like to usually cut those out. So let's jump to the next tab. I can't talk about VoiceOver because it's not available with YouTube. However, I uploaded that other video that we're going to talk about in a couple minutes, and you'll see that I'll be able to add a voiceover here so I could record over the entire video if I want to. This is the tab that I think you'll care about the most, these questions. There's 3 different things we can add. We can add multiple choice questions, open-ended questions, or notes. So let's say
not quite breakthrough technologies that will change the world, and
I want to add a question at the 19-second mark. So I pause it and I say, let's add an open-ended question. Now, if we pause here for a second, you'll see that I do have options to add functions. And for all my math people out there, or science too, I have options to add functions. I can add pictures. I can add a link. So maybe I want to send them somewhere else. Hey, stop right here and look at this article. And I can also obviously change my font a little bit. So I'm going to say, what is a moonshot project? Now, another really cool thing with Edpuzzle with these questions that are built in throughout is this feedback option. If I click the word feedback, I can give feedback on the question. So after they answer it, I can say, now check out this video to learn more about it. And I could give them that. I'm going to click back on question. This is really helpful when I show you multiple choice. You're going to see how you can do it with that. So I'm going to save.
get $1 billion per year in funding to do just that.
So let's say I want to ask another question. I just paused it. I'm going to choose multiple choice. How much money do they get a year? Just adding my responses. And then obviously next to each response, I can say, this is incorrect, this is correct, the green check means correct. I can add additional answers. And I talked about the feedback on the last one, but I think this is where it'll make more sense to you. So I could actually click on this feedback link and tell them, we literally just said a billion. Are you sleepy? I mean, don't do this for the kids. This is just for our entertainment. I can give more feedback if they answer it correctly. Maybe I could import a picture of myself cheering for them, saying, great job. Or maybe I can add a link to, I don't know, a celebratory video. I hope you don't do that, but just maybe you will. Who knows? And now I'm going to click save, and I've added that question.
Yep.
So see how anytime I'm adding something, I have these two little icons here.
Sir.
I can drag them and actually add this question at a different point.
The belt.
So maybe I did it a couple seconds before I wanted to. That's up to me.
The belt is Google Brain, which is a deep learning research problem. So today I'm going to be counting down my top Google provided to hire. I've made a lot of progress.
Now I'm going to add a note, and we have a couple different ways to add a note. We can do everything I just showed you with your little word formatting on the other questions. You can actually type out the note, or you can click this little microphone and say, if you had to choose what your moonshot project would be, what would it be? Email your teacher and let me know by midnight tonight. So now I've got my little voice there, and I can save it. Those are the three different elements that we can add. They call them events. There's 3 events that we've created. So let's say we go through this whole video and we are so proud of ourselves. We did an excellent job. I'm going to pause for 1 second and check the chat. Looks like we're still good. I hope people can hear and see. I'm concerned that you can't. My fingers are crossed. So I'm going to click finish. Let's pretend I'm done. And I want to talk about assigning it and other things you can do with this. So over here on the right, I can choose whether I want it to be public or private. I'm going to keep it private because obviously this isn't great and I don't want people to see it. I can duplicate it. So maybe you have a few different classes and one is more advanced. Maybe I want to duplicate it and add some more difficult questions. Maybe it was so bad I need to delete it and cancel the whole thing. I can edit it further, or and this is what I want to talk about with you. I want to assign it. So I'm going to click assign. I'm going to choose which class I want to assign it to. So I'm going to click training. I'm going to say that it's due tomorrow at 3 o'clock p.m. It's due at 3 p.m. tomorrow. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the start date. Let me actually make it right now. Okay, this is right now. And it's due tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. So I want you to pay close attention to this. Right here, the first one is to prevent skipping. What this does is, if you turn it off, the kids can fast forward through the video. So for example, I had 3 different events happen in a video. The kids don't have to watch every single second of the video. That's up to you. I know, especially for learning, sometimes it's helpful to turn it off, but that is your choice. I will say, I just realized the other day that if you're watching an Edpuzzle video and you go to another tab, the video automatically pauses. So you can't really like multitask while you're doing this. I'm going to turn it off just for the sake of this training because I want to show you the example. This is obviously to turn on or off closed captions. And then finally, this is post on Google Classroom. If this is off, it won't go up to Google Classroom. You want to turn it on if you want it to appear on your Google Classroom. I'm going to show you both. So once I'm ready to click assign, I click assign. And now I can see these are my students. This is how much they've done. Nothing yet. My kids are underachievers. I'm kidding. These are all teachers. They're wonderful. Over on the right, I have some more options. I can, let's say that my students were all messing around and I'm not happy with it, or maybe I accidentally assigned the wrong thing. I could reset student progress. I could download the grades, which will come to a spreadsheet. I could delete the entire assignment. This is one that you might want to use for remote learning because I know a lot of us are doing live meetings on Google Meet. You can click go live, and then you can actually go through the entire thing together live. So I'm actually going to come to my Google Classroom. and show you here is a training. You can see, look, I used this for another training, so ignore the bottom one. But if I actually enter this classroom, I can see that my teacher assigned us some activities. So she assigned us this top 5 failed Google X projects. So here's the activity. I know that I have to go in here and complete this as a student. So actually, now I'm going to open a different browser. I'm going to use Internet Explorer. Have you heard of it? And I'm going to sign on to Edpuzzle using my personal account. So that way I can show you what the students see. Just give me 1 second to log in. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the chat. I'll be looking at them momentarily. I'm just taking a moment to log in. If you're just joining us, I'm showing you the student side next. Okay, sorry about that. Now I'm logged on. I can see over on the left that I have a few different classes. I just want to point out here, if you have a chance to Google it, Edpuzzle has some great PD and they give it to you in the form of Edpuzzle. So these are different classes that I've taken with them. But this is that sample class that I just showed you. So as a student, I can see that I do have one assignment that's due. I can see any assignments that have no due date, and then I can see anything I've completed here in that specific class. So I have this assignment to do. Let me click on it. And I can press play. Now remember, I allowed myself to skip ahead because I did want to show you what it looks like as a student. So I'm going to play.
Breakthrough technologies that will change the world, and they get up.
So here's the open-ended question. This is where I can answer. Let's say the student is really struggling. They might want to re-watch and go back and watch the question again. I'm going to click submit. Let's pretend I did a great job.
They get $1 billion per year in funding to do just that. They do have some notable successes under the.
I'm going to answer this incorrectly so you can see that feedback. See how it gave me the feedback right away?
The belt. There's Google Brain, which is a deep learning research project. Waymo, which was their self-driving initiative that was recently valued at over $70 billion. And projects like Loon that have made a lot of progress. And
this is the note. I can press play to listen to myself. That's not a good sound. I hope you guys can hear me. I wonder if my mic is not working. Typically, it's good. I am using a different laptop, I should warn you. So hopefully you can hear me. I'm going to check the chat in a second. Maybe you can't. Maybe this whole thing was for no reason.
Progress, and Loon is aimed at providing internet access to the entire.
So now I could go through this whole thing as a student. When I get to the very end.
However, failure is something they is the people. There are some something average is. Thank you for watching.
I jumped all the way ahead because when you get to the very end, I have to watch the whole video to turn in the assignment. Okay, I lied. See right here, it literally tells me what to do. I obviously am not going to sit here and make you watch the whole video. But what I am going to do is go back to my Edpuzzle. And let me refresh this page and let me see my one student here. This is the only person who started doing anything. She did about 30%, just a few seconds ago. I could click here and I could reset her progress. Maybe she just was obviously not doing a good job. I can go to questions and I can see who answered what. I can click specifically on the student and see how much time she spent on each single thing, which I think is pretty cool. So maybe if you have like some kind of review, you can see Alicia did it 40 times. Clearly, Alicia's having a problem with it. I also up here, when I do open-ended questions, it tells me I have to grade a question. So I just looked at Alicia's open-ended question. It feels weird talking about myself this way, but you know what I mean. I'm going to reset her progress because obviously she was not taking this very seriously, so I'll reset her. So that's how you can create content and activities right in Edpuzzle. That brings me to the half-hour mark, and I think I covered pretty much the overview that I wanted to cover. Let me just go back real quick to my content over here and show you that remember this was the video that I added? So now it's uploaded and I can edit it, and now I can add the content and snip things up and add my own questions and customize it. You don't have to be fancy. I recorded this video right in a Google Meet. You could use Screencastify. You could easily just turn on your phone and record yourself teaching in front of your whiteboard. Whatever you are comfortable with, obviously is the best thing for you to do. And as long as you're putting the students first, you're probably making the best choice at that time. So let me just check the chat real quick. We have no questions in the chat. Well, thank you for those who tuned in, for watching, and thank you for your patience. I know I stopped a couple times. If you have any questions, you can go to my website, which is tinyurl.com/MPS digital, and you can check out the different resources we have. We have a ton of recorded trainings already, including Edpuzzle, which we covered this summer a couple times. And reach out to myself or any of the digital learning ambassadors. We all have office hours and obviously email addresses. And thank you so much for those who joined, and I hope you're having a solid start to an interesting school year. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone.